Hey, my sisters.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Silver Sisters Speak. We're back again, and today our topic is redefining femininity. But before we get into that, I'd like to reintroduce my sisters. I have Tracy Byerly, unapologetically gray. I have Sheila. Sheila's fit 50 plus, and I'm Adelina, Fly Granny BK. And we're diving into femininity today. Sheila, you want to take it away?
Yes, I certainly do. And I just want to clarify that we are not here to necessarily give you any advice. We're here because we found that this is a topic that many people, many women and men over 50 want to hear about. They want to know and they want to hear, they want to see people that look like them, that have the same issues that they do, experiences. And really, let's just talk. We're here to communicate. So we decided on redefining femininity because we need to refresh. We need to refresh sometimes. Sometimes we think that we're doing things and we're really not. Just ask your significant other if you really want to know. But I'm the kind of person that I'm the older person in the group, and I grew up in the 60s. And the 60s feminists, not femininity. We were feminists. We had all kind of movements going on, women power, black power, all kind of movements going on, and we became a little hard in the 60s because we were power to the people. Okay, and that wasn't bad because it was a great experience for me. But then I felt like I lost a little something along the way, so I had to pivot myself back into a feminine state, and it wasn't easy. It took a lot of time, and I can remember even in the 80s, I went to a singles Bahama trip, men co-ed singles, and a guy got up and he said, a really a successful guy too, and he said, "I want women to stand 10 feet behind, to walk 10 feet behind me when I'm walking." The whole room just blew up, men and women. And I was a loud one. I'm not gonna lie. I was loud about it because I'm like, excuse me, I'm not walking 10 feet behind nobody. And da 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 da. And the funny thing is, the lady that was there knew him and she said, "You all think he was joking? He's for real." And that's just the way I was back at that time. So that's what I thought, I should be like. But fast forward, as I matured, and it wasn't an easy thing. I had to mature into being a feminine woman because I had it's just not just me, but so many women have so many things that have happened to them that make them a hardcore. We've had to endure a lot of things. We had to endure things from other people, from our significant others, and from friends, and so we got a little hard. But if I'm in front of an audience now and I ask you guys, if particularly women, how many of you have drawers and closets full of lingerie? And then I believe more than half the women would stand up. But if I said, well, how many of you wear them for yourself? And then half of those women would sit down because we think that we can only be feminine for someone else a lot of times. But you have to be feminine for yourself. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's true. And to kind of piggyback on what you said about, really the generation before us, like we're only one generation from our parents being totally submissive, like the women back in that day, they were just like quiet, demure, but they were more feminine. Um, but for us, and especially for me, when I was a single parent and like you becoming a feminist, I am woman, and just being strong, But the truth is, we did have to be strong, like you said, Sheila. You know, a lot of us were just raising our families alone, and we had to be mom and dad and just do everything. And it causes a little bit of hardness, probably not deliberately. It
Right.
just happens because of everything that you're handling. And you kind of lose that edge. You know, you find yourself talking a certain way, behaving a certain way, kind of out of necessity.
Mhm.
I've always been feminine, but during that phase of time, I would say like the 90s, 2000s, and, you know, going through divorces and all that, it does make you hard. Um, but femininity today doesn't mean that you have to be hard. You know, you can still maintain your grace, your elegance, and you know, be feminine in a relationship and kind of balance it out. What do you guys think?
I believe that we all have a mix of feminine and masculine within. However, because being feminine is usually objectified, and because in a lot of cases, and we've all had our moments when we were single parents, had to be mom and dad, like you said, had to exercise that more. So at this point, when Mr. Right comes in, or Mr., can we trust you? And that's where we were throwing around that S word too, because that S word can be ooh wee for those who have been damaged or did not have good representation. The feminine part though, that is so funny because I feel like I'm on a journey, and I shared with you ladies that I would watch where my parents would have their friends over, and the guys would be in a room just laughing and cutting up, and I mean just lots of laughter. The women, they had their share of laughter, but they were in the kitchen, and there was just something about seeing the kitchen and weren't, in my eyes, having as much fun as the guys in the room. And it's just, my mom was superwoman. She was that woman that would have the house spot clean. I mean, just you could eat off the floors almost, laundry done, cooking, everything. And in my eyes, because she was so busy, we've had this talk, and she's just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. And I don't hold it against her because I became a mom. I understood. But at the time, it's like, mom don't want to be bothered with us because she's too busy doing domestic work. And I didn't know that she was really having fun, although she said she enjoyed it. But it's like, ew, all this hard stuff. And to me, that's what being a woman was, which I know later that wasn't right, because being feminine and us exercising our feminine power, oh my gosh, we're here to create, to birth, to love, to have a certain kind of authority. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what I'm learning in my journey now.
Mhm. Yeah, it reminds. I know this is a little off the wall, but it reminds me of I was working with a person, I was selling t-shirts, and then there was another woman, she had another business, but the way she was very feminine and she knew how to use her feminine wiles, right? I'm not saying we have to go to that extent, but I would see how she would turn it on and then the guys would swoon. You know, there is some magic to the femininity, so we can use it to our advantage, and you know, just naturally, not manipulatively. But I think we all have that within us, and it's magical. And guess what? I think it's what men want, to complement them.
They really do. If you think about Maya Angelou when she talked about phenomenal woman, she said people wonder why when I walk in the room, men just drop what they. People wonder when I walk in the room, men just drop what they're doing and they look at me. They wonder what that magic is. That magic was that femininity that she had. And that's what people misunderstand. They think it's all about beauty. And men really want us to be soft. They want us to be nurturing. They want us to be emotional.
Hmm.
With them, that's what they want. They want really, even with submissiveness, they want a mutual respect. And sometimes we forget that because we get so busy thinking about things we have to do at home, at work, whatever, and we don't think about their need for us to really take on that femininity, I should say. They really need that and they want that from us. And a lot of times, all we have to do is ask them.
You're reminding. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, ask them, and they'll tell you exactly what they want. But the problem is, you also have to listen when they tell you.
Well, and it reminds me, I don't know if you guys listened to Wendy Williams back in the day when she was on the radio. I used to listen to her every single day, and it was so funny. She used to have a little segment, and she would call it Soft and Pink. And she would turn on this music, and she said, I like to be soft and pink. And that meant, she wanted to bring out her feminine side and, just exactly the things that we're talking about. And I'll never forget that, she was talking about it back then. This was in probably the early 2000s. She was talking about women being too hard and too edgy. And the thing is today, men, I think, want to claim their masculine power too, because there's so much talk about toxic masculinity. I love a strong man, and I'd rather he be strong. So, we've had our time of being strong. So I just think it's time for us to reclaim our femininity, and it doesn't have to mean being submissive. It's our power, and it's not weakness. It's about confidence. It's about grace, and again, about balancing out that masculine energy.
Right. And when we talk about femininity, when we talk about dating, I'm not sure if can you hear me okay? If we talk about dating with femininity, I think that that's something that we ought to consider, and that that women ought to consider when they're seeking a mate, when they're out, when they're doing whatever they want to do. We always want to have on that hat, that feminine hat. And we talked before about how I couldn't believe that women were upset when Monique said, "Listen, I'm at the airport, and why are you all walking around with bonnets and pajamas on?" And why did they get upset about that? I couldn't even understand. We don't need her to tell us what to do, and we want to look good when we get where we're going. That is something that, and of course, it was some older women that were speaking against that too. It wasn't just the younger one. And what I said is that they haven't been taught. They haven't been taught because, first of all, why would you want to go out? My husband don't even want me to go to the garbage can. Bonnet on. You wearing that? I'm like, look, okay. So I'm like, the neighbors could be looking at you, But so I think we have to teach our younger women as well, but we have to be aware of that because I'm really like that when I'm out. I'm looking at people. I'm a people watcher, and I'm thinking how we really need to teach people, whether they're old or young. We need to teach the value of being feminine.
And it doesn't mean that you have to be a doormat, right? Does somebody have some other sound going on? Because I hear like a reverb, or somebody have something else playing.
I just asked them the thing if somebody had a fan on.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't mean being a doormat. You have to know your limitations. But again, I think men, especially established and professional men or successful men, I think they appreciate a feminine woman.
Absolutely. And I love that we keep driving home because feminine is automatically associated with being weak, helpless.
Right.
That's not it. Again, we have authority. We do. And I think it gets mixed up. And I'm going to draw the roots back. All right. So I'm hitting at everybody. Let me just preface right here. We're all on here. We're Christians. We're believers. But at the same time, too, we don't knock what other people believe. So those of you who don't believe, don't hit that turn off button. You stay with us, okay? But I went back to church. And it just so happened that I was in a meeting and they were talking about submission. And at the time, I was going through a separation and into a divorce. And I'm like, wait a minute. If we're being abused, you mean we have to stay in it? Oh, yes, you have to submit to your husband. And the pastor happened to walk past and he heard me in an argument with these ladies because I'm like, I'm not about to submit to someone who's doing blah, blah, blah. He not only rebuked me in that Bible study, I became the sermon on Sunday. And then we had a visitation at another church for a pastor and first lady anniversary. And he opened up with rebuking me publicly in somebody else's anniversary service. So for me, this word was so skewed by then. I didn't understand, but I had to do my own study. At the end of the day, if we want to look at this, God does not even force us to submit. So therefore, a man is out of order if he is forcing a woman to submit. And for those of you ladies who are playing wifey, be careful. I mean, if we're going to follow this biblical, let's follow it all the way. It is a beautiful spiritual connection. Submission is supposed to be as powerful and as loving and as connecting as making love. It's all a choice. And at the end of the day, we're submitting to the God within the man.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so blessed to have a man who loves and wants to practice being as God would be.
Mm-hmm.
Not every woman is fortunate like that. And I've been on that side where I was not. But I'm speaking to you. You do have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know submission is thrown down our throats. First of all, if he's not your husband, you don't have to submit anyway.
Right.
Because at the same time, too, if we're going to use those verses, there were about 4 verses that pertain to us, but the rest of the 9 pertain to him. And he has an even bigger responsibility than we do because he has to treat us like God would treat people in the church. And we are simply to respond
Mm-hmm.
to that love. So that freed me. And I hope that it frees you too.
Well, I like what you said. If that's not your husband, you don't have to be submissive, and I agree with that. Uh, but I think that you should be respectful, and I think that you all should be working toward a goal that brings about positive submissive, because all submissive is not good, and I think that we misunderstand being submissive too, and um, we think that a lot of times we think that because that's what we were taught, either biblically. A lot of pastors taught that you know that you bow down and all of that, but that's really not what submission is. Really, it really isn't. So you just want to have that relationship where you it, some, your a significant other is feeling good about you, feeling good, rub their hair or rub their back or just simple little things, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And so no, I don't. I agree. You don't have to be totally submissive, but you do, you know, have to show a mutual respect for each other.
And if he's not a godly man, he is not worthy of submission. So, I think we need to put that line in there, kind of like what you said, Tracy. You just have to understand that You don't have to, just because you're in a relationship, submit to everything just because he's the man, especially if he's not worthy of it. But I wanted to talk about being soft, right? A little bit more, because there's a little bit of mystery to our femininity, and I think men appreciate that too. Like just our feminine nature, to really work with it, and it also attracts men, right? Masculine attracts feminine and vice versa. But maintaining that mystery, that allure of being sexy, feminine, it's okay, ladies, it's okay. They told us that we had to be hard, but we don't have to be hard. We can be strong, and we don't have to be, masculine about it. So, we just kind of wanted to put that on the table and throw that out there. What do you ladies think?
You know what? I think it has a lot to do with trust. When she feels that she can trust, she can take down that exterior wall of hardness. And she can rest because she can trust. And when we trust, we do get a little bit softer. We get a lot of bit softer when we know that we are secure. So, men, if you're listening and you are trying to disarm that hard woman, I would say that doing what you can to make her feel secure here and here. If you can touch her mind and her heart and she knows it's safe, dude, you got the world.
That's the key. That's the key. I like disarm, what you said, because a lot of us have layers of hurt, heartbreak, disappointment, divorce, whatever it is. It's layer upon layer upon layer. So it may not be easy for us to trust again and to love. So, we have to be open again. But yes, they have to work with us on that. And we have to work with them too, because it's in reverse as well.
Right. You have to peel off the layers, because when you talk about dating in your 50s, 60s, 70 and beyond, you have some baggage. And compromising is very, very difficult, because you're so used to being a party of one, whether you're a widow or divorced or just never been married. So compromise is a key. But to your point also is that men need to understand that women, a lot of times it's confusing, because we say we might like nice jewelry or nice clothes or a fur coat or a nice car or whatever. But then there's something about us that still does not, it's that one thing that we still haven't got. So they may think that you just never happy. Whatever I do for you, you're never happy. But that's not it. What it is you haven't touched our spirit. So you have to, the spirit is that inner woman that you need to touch, that just makes you shiver all over. So, and you be purring, but a lot of men don't understand that, because they think it's about what you give them, what you give women, brother, but it's not. It's about how you make them feel. And really, my spirit is 10 times better than anything else, because that takes me on an emotional high. So I do, I'm there, because we built that trust in each other, and that's how you do it.
And it's also, we're used to doing things for ourselves, by ourselves, and to kind of relinquish that to a man who's willing to do those things for you, suddenly it's foreign in a lot of cases, and then you're looking at him with the side eye. What does he want beyond this? So it's trust on both sides.
Right.
Absolutely. And if anybody's listening and it's like, it's all about the women, well, what about the men? Hear us. We are saying that we are to respect. We're not to be obnoxious. If you've got a woman who is being obnoxious to you, then question why you are in that relationship. Are you rescuing, or there are some men that have a propensity to be abused? I question all of that. So saying that femininity, how do we bring that back? And as my big sisters were talking here, because I'm the baby of the group, I was thinking about how do we bring it back? And sometimes I think about what happens if we go back to the little girl before the world got to her and what it was like. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, okay, I'm going to get some hate on this, but it's all right. I used to listen to Kevin Samuels, and I just pulled up something real quick, and it says the late Kevin Samuels often argued that modern women have become too dominant and assertive in ways that repel masculine men. While women need to be independent, the key is balance, being strong, but also leaving space for a man to be provider and protector. And again, that's kind of difficult because we've been doing it all. So I think just being open, just being trusting, and it all takes time.
I think that it takes time and repetition, really. You have to, you just can't try it once. You have to make a effort to be what is feminine or submissive, whichever one you want to call it or how you want to do it. I think it takes the effort because we have gotten away from that, and rightly so, because we've had to endure so much. But it's still possible, and it's still something that if we're talking about being in relationships, getting relationships, it's still something that needs to be done. It doesn't mean that you have to be the one that cooks or you have to be the one that cleans, but you all work together. It's a compromise. I think that once you find that you compromise, it works better, and then you feel good about yourself. If you feel good about yourself, um, you that's automatically that's a win right there. You feel good about yourself. That makes you want to do something to brighten up that relationship, or you want to do something for yourself. I'm sorry, I don't know what the noise is. I hope you guys can hear me because I tried.
It sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like a wind tunnel or something.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's no heater air in here. So.
Okay. All right, we can hear you still, though.
Okay. So that's that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and I think coming into our maturity, it's just a little easier to embrace that femininity because Mother has lived, right? We all have lived. So let me know how you guys feel as we wrap up. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with being feminine, and not having to bear it all because we don't have to.
I think about, when we're going places and my husband opens the car door for me and I get out and be the princess. I think femininity, I just think princess.
Yeah.
And look, pink, soft, a sense of royalty. If we can dial it back to that and channel that energy and not just what we look like on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
but channel the inner essence. Again, what I talked about, creativity, giving life. I mean, there's just, and so what if you've never birthed a child or anything like that? Your words give life. Things you do and you produce with your hands, whatever, that gives life. Loving, that is just a part of being feminine. I just, because I'm becoming into that and embracing it, for me, it's just such an exciting thing. I've always been ladylike, but it's, for lack of better words, being a performance as opposed to embodying who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing.
Mm. Yeah,
So
we're stepping into it, along with just stepping into this season of life. We're stepping into it. Go ahead, Sheila. Sorry.
I was going to say, so if we could wrap it up and say what we're talking about redefining femininity. And if we could say, each one of us really say, what do we do to redefine femininity? And the one thing that I do is that I make sure that I take care of myself. And I don't just mean self care like, okay, you take a shower or a bath or whatever, a spa. Did I say that right? Shower or bath? If you go to a spa treatment, I don't mean you go to a spa treatment, but it's the little things for me. Like, I'm the kind of person that I love fresh sheets. I love to go to bed with fresh sheets, and I love wearing all my lingerie and PJs. I love that because that makes me feel good. So I do just the simple things, and when I do the simple things, it just comes out naturally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That I love that. I love that. I also, well, I like things to smell nice. I like things to feel nice. I'm not like you because when it's cold, I'm not putting on my sexy lingerie. I will put on my thermals and be warm, okay? And he has to deal with that. But anyway, that's just me. But when the summer comes, I'll bear some skin. um, but I think spiritually too, because I like to pray about, Lord, help me to be a better wife because I know I've messed up before. I've had messes of relationships, and I want to do better and be better. And whether that is being feminine or emotionally available or whatever, for me, that is important.
I
I
think
do
I kicked it
I
off.
do wear heavier PJs too.
Just call me Eve.
But they still are cute though. They're cute.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think I kicked it off. So I said what I did to bring it back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So while we're wrapping up, let me just be sure to put up, first of all, anybody who's watching, please go to the YouTube channel. There is a Silver Sister Speak.
Channel.
Subscribe there,
Yes.
like it there, share it, go there.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, these are where you guys can find us on other platforms. Sharing is caring. We share each other's audiences, and we would love to have you all on all of our platforms. But whatever you do, make sure that you go to Silver Sisters Speaks
Yeah.
because we're eventually driving people there.
We're moving over there, and we just really want to thank you for joining us today. We appreciate each and every one of you. We would love your comments. We would love your any questions or any ideas you have for future podcasts. We would love your ideas, and if we are of value to you, definitely drop a like and share. We appreciate all of you. Anything else, ladies?
I just want to thank people for joining and look forward to seeing them next time because we need this conversation. It's a conversation. We do need it. Men and women, we need it.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to have the men on again at some point. We'll let you know, so stay tuned. All right.
Yes.
With that, Tracy, am I missing anything else? I think we covered everything.
No, we're good. Well, until next time, y'all. Mwah.
Over and out. Bye.
Bye bye.